Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting November 23rd at 6 p.m. Call this meeting to order. If you will, please silence your cell phones and any other electronic devices. Please stand for the invitation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Lord, we just bow with you. Lord, we just come to you, thanking you so much for this time of the year, Lord, for the Thanksgiving season, and that we can truly be thankful for what we have, Lord. If all would just be with us here in this meeting, just give us the guidance, the direction it takes to make the decision that will be benefiting not only to you, but to Meriwether County. Lord, we just as always ask you to forgive us where we fail you. In Christ Jesus' name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. We'll move to the next item, and that is to adopt the agenda. But before doing so, under public hearing, we're going to switch those numbers. Number 1 now becomes number 2, and number 2 becomes number 1. Are there any additions that needed to be added? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Next item, finance report. Mr. Beal?
Mr. Chair, y'all have the bank balance report in front of you, the general fund. Down a little bit, we're expecting some serious tax receipts to come in the next 2 weeks to a month, so that will take care of that. That's about all there is on that. I will mention that we received proposals for the re-roofing the courthouse on Friday, but we hadn't had a chance to sit down and review those, but we'll do that and have a report for you at the next meeting. Now, you also have 3 reports in front of you. What we did is took that original SPLOST report that had T-SPLOST activity on it, as well as projects we thought could be paid for with ARP funds, and we created 3 spreadsheets just for your review in anticipation of a workshop in the near future to talk about those line items. And with that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Any commissioners have any questions? Finance Director? All right. Thank you, Mr. Beal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Next item is citizen comment. Speakers must contact the county clerk at the email or phone number on or before the dates and times listed below in order to be placed on the agenda to speak. Speakers must provide their name, address, and topic they wish to discuss. For the second Wednesday of the month, 9 a.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5 p.m. on the day before the scheduled meeting. For the fourth Tuesday of the month, 6 p.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting. Speakers must direct their remarks to the board and not to individual commissioners or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual commissioners or county employees are not a matter of public concern. Personal attacks will not be tolerated. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertinent to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the commissioners during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speaker will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. So who do we have signed up?
Mr. Chairman, we have Marcel Womack who will speak.
Well, Ms. Womack, come on up. We're gonna get you a permanent place.
I really need one. Okay. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the board for the approval to pay Beulah Evans. The residents are just extremely excited about the fact that they'll be able to enter and exit their subdivision safely. The work that has already begun for the resurfacing of Bobcat Trail and Turkey Court Trail is a joy to see. And again, we're just overjoyed and very thankful for the county listening to our needs and concerns. Chairman, I can guarantee you a cookout, I promise. Anyway, we're just super excited, and we appreciate y'all, and we're just, hey, thank you.
Appreciate you too, thank you. Anyone else? Beverly? Is that it? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Womack. We'll move to the next item is minutes from November 10th, 2021 at 9 a.m. If you've had time to read, are there any changes that need to be made? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes for November 10th, 2021, 9 a.m. regular meeting?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Next item is public hearing. Case number 25, 2021. Quercus Farms request to rezone 25.64 acres at 2 Jimmy Clark Road. The property is in a portion of tax map and parcel number 168040003. Current zoning is A1, 25 acre minimum. Request is to rezone NHC, neighborhood commercial, to build a restaurant and have rental cabins. The 100-foot undisturbed buffer with a 20-foot planted buffer is required between the NHC and an A1 zoning. Jody? Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So
So
moved.
I
moved.
have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? We are in public hearing at 6:06.
Could you tell me who did the motion?
I
Ms.
did.
Beth
did
did,
the
I did a
motion.
second.
Quercus Farms is requesting the rezoning of a 25.64 acre at 2 Jimmy Clark Road. This property is a portion of tax map and parcel 168040003. The current zoning is A1, a 25 acre minimum, and they're wanting to rezone it to the neighborhood commercial to build a restaurant and have rental cabins. A 100-foot undisturbed buffer is required with a 20-foot planted buffer. And Ms. Paul and I spoke about this, and she agrees with it. Quercus Farms owns all of the properties surrounding the 25.64 acres that they wish to rezone. There has not been any opposition to the proposed rezoning, and the Department of Planning, Zoning, and Community Development recommends an approval for this.
Is there anyone signed up to speak? All right. Any commissioners have any questions? Susan, did you want to speak?
Just say yes.
All right. If no commissioners have anything, then may I have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do
Second.
I have a motion and a second? All in favor? We are out of public hearing at 6:07. Hearing the recommendations, what is the pleasure of the board?
I move we rezone.
In the form of a motion?
Yes,
All right, have a motion with the condition. What
with
condition?
conditions met, yes.
Buffer.
All right, have a motion.
Yes.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We will skip the next one until they arrive, okay?
He's here.
Who he is? Okay. So next public hearing is case number 24, 2021. We will in just a, sorry. Marksman Properties request to rezone 37.39 acres on Alberton Road. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Motion and a
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? We are in public hearing number 2 at 6:08. Sorry, Michelle.
Marksman Property is requesting the rezoning of 37.39 acres at 5334 Alberton Road, also known as tax map and parcel 164,003. The current zoning is LDR, a 5 acre minimum, and Marksman Properties are requesting it to be rezoned to an RD of a 2 acre minimum. The owners are proposing a 15 lot subdivision with each lot being approximately 2 acres each. The entrance to the subdivision will be off Alberton Road, and this entrance has been a concern expressed by neighbors. In addition to the entrance, another concern from neighbors has been the possibility of flooding. This property was affected by the flooding in 1994, and Mr. Bob Acree is concerned that the development will cause additional flooding issues when we have heavy rains. Mr. David Hovey, the project manager, is here to answer any questions and to explain the plans for the development.
Who do we have signed up?
Tim Brown, Patty Boggs, and, is this Mr. Irvin?
Yes.
Just need to get your address. And yes, everything outside.
Right. And if you would like to go ahead and start, Mr. Hovey. What do y'all want to give?
About 15.
15
Oh, is it?
Each side.
15?
each side.
Okay. So we'll give 15 minutes to each side. That can be in, if there are more than one, we can do that in increments. Get one talk. All right, who's first on the list, Beverly?
Mr. Tim Brown.
Mr. Brown, if you will come forward, state your name and your address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Tim Brown. I live at 5323 Alberton Road. I'm not opposed to the subdivision. I know growth, I know we need growth in the county. The only opposition I have is the entrance. The entrance is currently between my driveway and my parents' driveway. They purchased property next to me and they're building a new house there. Where the entrance is located, you cannot see anything coming from Highway 85. And I don't know how familiar y'all are with Alberton Road, but it is a speed trap. We have cars that turn off of 85, they fly up Alberton, we have 18-wheelers flying down Alberton, and where the entrance is, I'm afraid cars are gonna wind up in our ditches. And I sent an email to the commissioners a few weeks ago. And what I would like to recommend is move the entrance down closer to the event center. There are no, there's a few houses there, but there's no one living in those houses. If you move it towards the event center, you can see Highway 85, you can see cars turning in, and they can see the entrance if cars are pulling out of that subdivision. And with a 15-home subdivision, you're looking at 30 to 45 more vehicles on Alberton. So with the traffic pattern there, it's just, to me, it's a safety hazard. And moving it closer to the event center will help greatly with safety.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions?
I would just like to hear from someone as if that would be a possibility to change that, somebody who knows something about them.
Bill, are you keeping time? Okay.
We're gonna finish up with the comments before he speaks.
Yeah, we'll do that before. You want to hear it now?
Yeah, no, well, just, I just want to answer to
Okay.
it at some point.
Who's next on the list?
Next we go Ms. Patty Boggs.
Boggs, come forward, state your name and address, please, for the record.
Patty Box, 5130 Alberton Road. As what Tim said, yes, that is an issue as far as safety, as far as in and out. The only option I saw that would work is they own the partial between the event center and Marie's house. If that was the entrance in the subdivision, to be coming out on 85, where the storage unit is, that would be a possible way of going in and out, and not have to worry about the traffic being turned into Alberton as much. The other issue I have is basically, I'm not sure what the square footage they're talking about putting on these homes. One minute I hear it's 1,150 to possibly 1,500, then I'm being told another county a couple of years ago said it was 1,800 minimum. That is another concern, and the other concern are the wells that are gonna be dug, and how that would affect the existing, since everyone there, including the event centers, on a well. So with them putting in 15 more wells, where's that water coming from? I know my well's not that old, I think it's only 7 years old, but still, that is a concern to me. So that's the biggest thing. If he can answer those questions, I'm not opposed to growth, but I would like at least a minimum of 1,800 square foot homes put in, just to give the rest of us, mine's 19, almost 2,000 square feet, and most of the ones on there are above 2,000 on that street. That's it.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you say the entrance that you were suggesting would come out on Highway 85? Is that what you said?
If you look at the parcel, it's a T shape. And between the event center and Marie's house, that's all you could use it for, or a possible backyard. I mean, it's not wide enough to put a home in unless it's a T-shaped lot.
You don't think it would be more dangerous trying to turn that many people in off of a state highway and in and out of a subdivision?
It might, but as far as I'm looking at what Tim suggested, moving it, that's taking away one home possibility. I mean, it's just something that's gotta be looked at. The traffic on Alberton, I'm the first house on the left behind that event center. And I slow down enough and I have people passing me when I'm getting ready to turn in my driveway. And the blinkers on, they're still passing me, so I have to hit the brakes, so I don't hit them, and that's just, I'm the first house, really?
Well, we would not have the ability to decide whether it could come out on a state highway or not.
True.
That would have to go before.
Or the state,
GDOT.
yeah, I know. But that's just another thing I was looking at, it's just to cut down and more noise and everything else. Okay.
What is the square footage minimum?
Would you repeat that, please, for the minutes?
1375.
1375 is the
square feet.
minimum.
What are they requesting?
Who's next on the list?
Mr. Hogan, Mr. David Hogan.
All right, there's no one else wanting to speak in opposition? Okay, so we'll start with this one. Go ahead, Mr. Hogan.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is David Hovey. I'm a consulting engineer. As said, I'm here on behalf of Marksman Properties. As far as answering questions concerning access out onto State Route 85, Department of Transportation is not going to really allow, as long as there's a county road access, they prefer that. They will not issue a permit for that driveway simply because of the volume of traffic that's on State Route 85 now. So that possibility will not exist. I mean, they will highly discourage that and say, please use the county road. They don't want to have to deal with permit issues. It's an expensive process, plus they would deny it anyway, as long as you have access and more road frontage on the county road. So that possibility will probably not exist. Now, there was the mention of additional perhaps flooding of, I believe it's Beavers Creek right there. As part of this development, we will be doing stormwater management, which is we will capture the rainwater and pipes, catch spaces and such, and direct it into a centralized detention basin. When you have a piece of property prior to development, it has a certain runoff rate. When we develop a piece of property, what we have to do is make sure as engineers, we capture that water and release it at or less than the pre-development rate. It's called stormwater detention. So we're incorporating that into this development. It's a state, it's not really a state requirement, it's more of a municipality requirement or suggestion. We as engineers, my stamp's going on this thing, we're doing detention. So the additional increase in runoff, it's not going to be a factor for this. Now, we will take a look at the entrance location for site distance once we get further involved in it. Right now, all we're trying to do is see if we can get it rezoned for the RD development with a 15 2-acre lot minimum. Then we dive into exact topo, entrance locations, site distance verification, things like that. So if there's any other questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Do you know what the square footage?
I do not. Marksman will be selling the lots, but based on the estimated lot prices that he has mentioned to me, I would imagine homes will be going in the upper 2s to mid 3s. He prefers 1 to 2 builders, no more.
In terms of moving it closer to 85, GDOT's going to require.
They require separation. Yeah, that's another requirement we have to look at, so.
But you would be willing to look at the entrance once?
Absolutely, yeah.
Any other commissioners have any
Is
questions?
there any concern about that number of wells on that property? I mean, is that anything to,
At 2 acres, I would not see a problem with that.
they'll have septic and,
Right. 2 acres should give you enough time, enough area for the septic system. You have to have separation of 100 feet.
100
or
feet,
so
yeah.
For well and septic. Yeah, they're all over Coweta with wells on 2 acres. And septic.
previously, maybe it was sometime last year, we rezoned some property to do the 2 acres. Didn't we ask for, higher square footage?
We actually got into a discussion this where.
Well, they did some of the lower, but we asked that a certain number of them be, went it up to 1,800. That was not our minimum by any means, but, that was conditioned on the
But you do think that anywhere from upper twos to three?
Absolutely, just simply for the development cost and the land cost that he's got, will have in it. Yeah, you pretty much have to, what you do
You're
is you.
talking about square footage.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the actual.
Cost.
house and yeah,
That's
the
what
the
you're
selling
selling
price of the
price.
homes will
Okay.
be, you know, there's, you can't buy anything probably under 300 these days, it doesn't seem like, so that's pretty much the bar.
Thinking upper 2,000 square foot to 3,000.
Yeah, I was saying.
Sorry.
Yeah. I would have, not that I'm gonna be building these things by any means, but I would imagine you'll be looking at somewhere between 1,800 and 2,500 square foot homes.
Need to pay more attention, don't I?
Mr. Tovey, I have just a few questions. I too live on Appleton Road.
Okay?
A little further down the other way on Appleton Road. And I remember about 15 years ago, we got our first subdivision right across in front of me. And I know what goes through people's minds when you first see this happening. Oh my goodness, it's almost like end of the world. I mean, we're not used to this. And I think I was probably that way to start with, but after a while, you adjust. There's no doubt about that. But the thing here, if you can adjust the road, that entranceway, to give whatever help that you can give to the residents there on Appleton Road, and it's true, people do fly up and down Appleton Road. I don't know why they do that, but they seem to like to do that, so we have a good bit of that. Now, the other thing is the flooding. The EPD is pretty well keeping y'all in check, I would assume,
Absolutely.
as far as, which that's kind of out of our jurisdiction too.
We will, I believe you're a local listing authority for soil and road control, so it'll be, that will be reviewed, but I'm not even sure if Meriwether County requires stormwater detention, but we will be doing it on this project. For the record, and with Darren, we did the engineering for the 6 fire stations for Meriwether County, so.
Right.
We've been at it for a while. We know what will get us in trouble and what will get the counties in trouble. So my job is to keep the development safe as well as the county safe. That's our job as civil engineers as well as the public, so.
And you say you will look at the entranceway?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A lot of clout there.
There was no sense in us diving really deep into it if we weren't going to be rezoned. So
Right.
that's our goal tonight, is to see if we can get rezoned. Then we do a good ground one topo or LiDAR topo. I'll do a site distance verification to make sure we meet the ASHTO manual for stopping site distance as well as intersection site distance. So all those things will come into play.
It'd be nice to know exactly what we're planning for square footage though.
Yeah, the square footage would be
I
nice.
mean, I'd like to have some idea. I mean, we know what the minimum is. If we rezone it, they could build everything at that minimum.
Oh, yeah, they won't build anything like that.
So when these come up and it is for rezoning, is that not part of what we do, is ask for the minimal? Because I know in most public hearings that we've had, and this has come up, it has been required to state the minimum that they plan to build.
What you have historically had with that, Chairman, is the builder, developer come up
Right.
with a little bit, not really a start from scratch with each year, like they did a good job.
No, I understand that, but they have to have some idea of what they're doing if they're wanting to get it rezoned.
What you got is you got a minimum of 1375. And historically, what's happened, the builders you come up and say, well, we're not gonna build that, we're gonna build 1,500, 1,800. So you guys have as a condition of zoning, place that so many be 1,800, and the others can be less. But that's a specific condition of that zone.
So, but you don't think there'll be anything less than what, 2,000 square feet?
Probably 1,800 to 2,500 is the normal. I think that's what typically has been going on over in the county. So it's hard to find a builder that does anything less than that, just simply because they have to recoup their money based off of the lot price that they're buying from the developer.
David, would you be comfortable if the board wanted to say 1,800 square feet as a minimum for what you were talking?
That's what I was about to suggest to the board
Would you be comfortable with that? Yes.
for the rezoning.
is there a compromise between the minimum and 1,800 just as a starting point? Because I'm not the developer, he cannot make it tonight, but would the board be comfortable with 1,750 or 1,725? The reason being, that's the same standard that they use over in Coweta County, which we do a lot of our work. There's-
I could go with
I could
1725.
handle it,
Yeah.
1725 would be
That
okay.
was a bid, but I don't think anybody bills that.
Actually, the minimum was 1,500.
Yeah, it was.
And then if you were going with certain sites, you know, under the, yeah, you were required to go to 1,725. Yes. Yeah.
Understand that we need to have something in there
Sure.
to secure it before we move forward with
I
this.
understand that. That's a condition of zoning. It is what it is.
Anyone else?
And I'd like to put something in there about some consideration given to the entrance. I mean, we can't decide anything, obviously, or he can't on the spur of the moment, but we need to know that they will look at that as far as, and all the considerations that you have to make far as the site distance
I
and.
think that could be
distance
you know, a condition of zoning too, site distance verification. Yeah, you could.
Okay,
Okay. Site distance verification.
for the entrance.
Any other commissioners?
Let me kind of gather what we've done here. We've raised it to a minimum of 1725, is that what I heard?
Right.
We've also have you looking at the entranceway for the site distance there. And you got a retention pond. I think that's about it for me.
Was there another issue? What about the wells? But y'all said that's not an issue with,
I don't think we
that's
could do
gonna be an
anything
issue.
about that anyway.
well, probably not.
They're gonna require, environmental soil scientist test.
We can't provide them with county water.
But I will say, that area is one that we go talk about.
Right.
Anytime soon in the future.
Right.
That's a future lead-in for.
The loop.
water sources.
All right, so anyone else have anything? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone who has already spoken that would like to come up? We still have some time left. Any rebuttal? All right. Hearing none, do I have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries, we are out at 6:27. Hearing the recommendations, what is the pleasure of the board?
Since it's my district, I'll go ahead and make that motion. Since he has agreed to, as far as the interest is concerned, this is going to be looked at. As far as the minimum size, 1725, I think that's about all we can handle. With those being mentioned, I make the motion we proceed
We
with
have
the
a
rezone.
motion with the expectations of the site distance verification considered to entrance and the minimum of 1,725 square feet. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Give me just a minute to clear out.
Good to see you.
Next item on the agenda is appointments. I don't believe we have any. Next item after that is new business. Item number 1, discussion of contracts with county employees who receive training that is paid by the county.
Chairman and Board, and in your packet, there is an example of a contract. This has been sent to legal. There was a couple of changes that he recommended, and this is to grant permission to the county administrator to sign them instead of bringing each of these to the board. Moving forward, we would also like to implement these types of contracts with any new hires in offices that we've had lots of problems with retention, where we train and get everyone certified, and then they move on to other counties that are paying higher dollars.
Shall I think you labeled that was training, but we sent about.
Correct.
The expended funds, so that we didn't have everybody.
It would be anything that was expended.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions?
I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
I agree totally.
There has to be some accountability for the money we're spending.
It does.
So is this just a discussion, or do you need us to vote?
No, I need a vote so that it would be okay for me to move forward to sign these contracts upon the hire of these new employees.
All right.
The one question I would have, would it be based on the individual departments and the cost involved?
It would, and it
And
would
that way
differ.
you've got the flexibility for whatever's needed.
Yes, ma'am, and I would work with the department head. It also depends on, we will list the classes that are anticipated to be taken, but then again, it depends on how long they've served and what classes they've gone to. So we'll keep a record of all that.
Good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, do I have a motion to allow the administrator to sign the contracts when the employees are hired based on the department in which the employee is at?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Item number 2, new camera system at the administration building. Display number 1,
I move we proceed.
oh, go ahead, Michelle.
I just wanted to let you know, the system that we did have in place was at least 10 to 15 years old, if not older. It crashed and burned, so we definitely need a new one. We did get a cost estimate of $6,135, and we are able to cover that with ARP funding.
And was this the cloud-based?
It is cloud-based.
Hearing that, do I have a motion to accept the new camera system into the administration building with funds coming from ARP for $6,100 for the cloud-based system?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Item number 3, request to purchase 2 new 2022 Handy Hitch 90-inch profile packers from RDO Equipment Company in the amount of $63,500. Mr. Gay.
Sure, Commissioner, back in August, we talked more about use of T-Splosh funds for third roads. And y'all know, we realized we can't pave all the roads, but there was something we wanted to ask them to consider. That was allowing us to purchase equipment that could be utilized in the maintenance of existing dirt roads. And at that time, the board asked us to go out and take a look at actual equipment for dirt roads. This would come out of like T-Splosh. And so Bill has been seeking bids on that. We were able to get 2 bids. We tried to get a third bid, but it was a company from Australia, and we didn't really figure with everything that's going on with delivery of products right now that would be coming anytime soon. So what we recommend is the approval and purchase of the 2 Handy Hitch 90-inch profile packers from RDO Equipment in the amount of $63,500. What will happen is these will be hooked behind motor graders, and as we grade it, we can also pack the material down. I know that we've sometimes if it's really wet, we have trouble, and sometimes really dry, we have trouble. We'll be able to have water on this if we need to with another water truck. And this will allow us to pack that down so the grade of the road will not just be loose.
Do we have more than one water truck?
We just have one water truck, but we've got several, we got a couple of different motor graders, so we could put them and we could do what we have to do.
Right.
The water would only come into play when we're in a very, very dry situations where we don't get that powder effect and then a rain on
This
top.
63.5 is a total for both, not
That's
each.
total for both.
That includes the freight too.
Yes, includes freight as well. And we would recommend purchase of that, and it'll be a big help for our motor grading. Right now, even after, when the weather's good, you still have some dry till the cars run over and pack it down, and this will allow us to go ahead and pack it.
Any commissioners have any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to allow for the purchase of the 2 Handy Hitch 90-inch profile packers in the amount of $63,500 total from T-Splosh funds?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4, award for places in peril designation for 2 locations in Meriwether County.
Georgia Trust for Historic Preservation takes applications annually for any places that are having issues and are of historic value. They name 10 each year. This year, there were 2 in Meriwether County that were named, and we do have a presentation that we'd like to show the board and citizens.
And you're sharing your screen, right?
For the announcement of our 2022 Places in Peril. I am Mark McDonald, President and CEO of the Georgia Trust for Historic Preservation. 2022 marks the 70th year for the Georgia Trust Places in Peril program. Every year, the Trust identifies 10 sites for our list that we believe have historic significance, face a real threat, are representative of preservation issues around the state, and have the potential to benefit from heightened awareness and support for the Georgia Trust. The Trust will work closely with representatives associated with each site to develop unique approaches to their preservation, but we can't do it alone. Like all our programs, the success of the Places in Peril program depends on your support. One way you can assist these efforts is by becoming a member of the Georgia Trust, which can be done by using ours. Thank you for your ongoing support, and now let's unveil the 10 sites selected for 2022 Places in Peril. Originally a small farming community, the town of Gay was incorporated after its first store and post office were opened by William Gay in 1882. The town experienced little growth until 1907, when a railroad line came through. Through the 20th century, the small town flourished with broader agricultural trends of the state, first cotton and then peaches. In 1972, after a period of decline in activity, descendants of William Gay established what became known as the cotton picking fairgrounds on the site of town's cotton gin and peach packing complex, with 11 original structures. Since then, the fair has been held the first weekend of May and October every year, providing an opportunity for arts and crafts, live music and food, centered around the town's antiques, business, and agricultural roots. Because the grounds are only active 2 weekends annually, the structures remain largely abandoned and neglected throughout the year. With no prior effort to properly preserve the buildings, there is potential for deterioration and damage to grounds in the off-season. Additionally, existing zoning in Gay does not provide protection for its historic resources, making the site more vulnerable to the threats of commercial development. The Red Oak Covered Bridge was built in the 1840s by Horace King or his son. Born into enslavement on a South Carolina plantation, Horace King was able to travel freely and was widely respected as a builder and engineer, constructing dozens of bridges in Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. The Red Oak Creek Bridge is the only bridge connected to Horace King that is still in use, attracting hundreds of visitors each year. Because the Red Oak Creek Bridge has remained open to traffic, there is a consistent threat of damage to the structure. A recent accident damaged several structural places inside the building. With its popularity, the bridge provides an opportunity for improved heritage tourism, greater access for recreation, and continued appreciation of history. But first, further protection of the bridge is necessary to ensure its continued longevity.
All right.
Deal.
If I could just mention a couple of things with that. This sort of started with Commissioner Plant, Commissioner McCoy, myself met with Georgia Trust down at the bridge. Mark McDonald, who was the narrator there, will be the person who will be our project manager. We're working with this. And the fact that Meriwether County has 2 out of 10 over the entire state of Georgia, I think is phenomenal. And so I think this will bring us some much needed help in the long-term preservation of this bridge. And I appreciate, I know you guys were involved in it, and all the board has been very supportive. So we appreciate it. We've known about this for a little while, but we could not release it back to the board, but we, or anybody publicly. This whole video, it has the other 8 sites too, is available. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty neat, but we wanted to highlight the ones here in Meriwether County. And again, we appreciate y'all's support of that project, and we look forward to.
Do we know what we will receive?
What, we don't know yet. What we'll do is I think it'll open the door for grants, it'll open the door for other supporters. Yeah, I would imagine they have a lot of corporate support across the state of Georgia, which may help us bring some dollars here, to this, to the bridge. And,
I'd like to mention also that when I personally reached out to Representative Buckner.
Right.
And she was the one that gave us Mark McDonald's contact information with Georgia Trust. And through her support and efforts and all, they really came down very quickly once we reached out to him, and actually had a couple of other people with him, 2 or 3. I can't
2 or 3
remember,
more.
but anyway, but this was shortly after the damage to the bridge or whatever. And it was a classic case of wish we could have told the public. And I know that it got put on Facebook and a lot of negative things out there, but in my mind, this is the proper way to go about securing the historic value of the bridge and for any future efforts to the bridge is secure.
And Ms. Buckner, I will say she is very supportive of the county, very supportive of projects, does a wonderful job. And when she tells you, hey, I'm going to work on this, she works on it. We appreciate that, and we'll send her this information as well.
Greatly appreciated.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? Do we need to do anything? Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is report from the county administrator.
My report is very short this meeting. I just wanted to relay information to you from department heads, employees, and constitutional officers. They were very thankful for the celebration that was had on Monday, and want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
And Judge Rasnick actually wrote a letter from his office
I can
thanking
pass
us.
that around.
We all got a couple of emails this afternoon too.
I haven't checked mine yet. But I'll get to that. Anything else?
That's all.
Mr. Gage, do you have anything?
No, sir, the deeds on Beulah Evans Road, just to give y'all an update on Beulah Evans Road. Bill Cawthorn's been out, running the stake of the road, so we know where right of way is exactly. Ms. Hill has reviewed the deeds that we put together on this. We need to go back and add the legal documents, the deeds, as an attachment A, and we'll do that. There'll be a project we work on next week, and we'll have those deeds should be ready to go with that.
Thank you very much.
And other than that, just working on some, a few other projects here and there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next reports from county commissioners. Commissioner Hadley.
This past weekend was the kickoff of Candlelight Weekends in Warm Springs, and there was a huge turnout. Town was absolutely running over with people all weekend. The merchants said they even had a lot of, people earlier in the week, so those will continue on through the weekend before Christmas. So I hope you'll just set aside some time to go down and visit the shops. See, it's very pretty at night with all the lights. And so I hope you'll make an effort to do that. And other than that, just happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you. Commissioner Plant.
Well, I want to personally thank Beverly for taking the effort and initiative on getting the trees around the courthouse, working with the cities and Public Works and all the efforts that have been made. And it's really looking very festive, and it's beginning to look like Christmas around here. So thank you for your efforts, and thank you to the staff for coordinating the Thanksgiving employee event yesterday. I think that was great, and I so appreciate all the efforts. So with that, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Tell him whatever he's doing to stop. All right, thank you. Commissioner McCoy.
About the only thing I really want to report on, and I guess it caught my attention, was last Saturday night. Randy Carter with the rec department invited me to come down to live wrestling there in Woodbury. It was pretty much, I guess, historic from that standpoint. The promoters there, they all said that this was great. The house wasn't packed out. It could have taken some more. They're coming back January the 15th. They intend to pack the house out. This was the promoters saying this. And it was extremely entertaining, I will say that. So that was about all I have.
A lot of chatter on social media about it. Folks loved it.
All right, thank you very much. And the only thing I have is that the theater in Manchester is having a lot of events between now and the end of the year, so keep your eyes out for that and see what's there. There will probably be things for children and adults as well. I don't have anything else, so we'll move on to report from the county attorney.
I don't have a report, but we do have need for executive session to discuss litigation and personnel.
And real estate, sorry.
And we have real estate
one
too?
more.
Any tax matters?
Not that I know of.
Always good to ask. All right. I think you, do I stink? You just keep sitting way down there.
It's a big table, I'm a small person.
I was getting a little offended. I was- All right. So is Nathan.
I was away from Nathan, right?
So we'll move to the next item, and that's executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second, all in favor? We are in executive session at 6:45. I was just kidding you, Michael.
Are we gonna just stay right here?
All right, do I have a motion to go back into regular session?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? We are back in regular session at 8:11. We need to bring to the board to accept terms of distribution settlement in opioid epidemic that was recommended by the opioid council. Allow the board to add the execution settlement documents and allow board to sign. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Anything else to come before the board? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Hold on, let me do these meetings. Future meetings and notices. November 25th through 26th will be closed for Thanksgiving. December 8th, regular meeting at 9 a.m. December 23rd and 24th, closed for Christmas. December 28th, regular meeting at 6 p.m. And December 31st, closed for New Year holiday. I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We're adjourned.